So welcome. Awesome to have you online. My name is Scott Picken from IPS. I'm the CEO. We've helped over 2,000 people invest in international property to a value of 1.6 billion. But to be honest, it's not about me. You know, Jacques and I are here. Jacques is representing Just Invest, or the Just Property Group. And at the end of the day, you know, Jacques, you might have watched our video that we made a couple of weeks ago about the Clem Center.
Yes.
I mean, how awesome was that?
Awesome.
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, most people are trying to make these decisions just based on gut feel, but really, you know, you've got to have a scientific model so that you've got a framework to make it happen. Just for those who are interested, click on the link here if you would like to go and watch that webinar if you didn't catch it live. Now, Jacques, we're back again because, you know, Just Invest, from what I understand from our last conversation, is all about educating your clients, you know, doing the right research so that you're adding real value to them. Tell us a little bit about that again.
Well, we fly all over the country, meeting solid, not only any developers, but solid developers with a whole package deal put together where your rental income nearly covers your bond repayments, with good management teams behind it, looking after your property, securing new contracts for our investors, and, you know, our investors sitting back and enjoying their yield. And that's what we do at the moment, definitely.
So fantastic. So I mean, you know, we've had a long-standing relationship. I've worked with you guys for many years, and what I think is pretty intriguing, and why we're looking to join join hands together here, is really, you know, you helping the best investors in South Africa find the best investments in South Africa.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the world's going global, and the choice is, it's not a case of should I buy this house in Johannesburg or should I buy this house overseas. Personally, I think you should buy both. Because I believe in Africa, or particularly in South Africa, the opportunity is fantastic. It's an emerging market. I believe it's much easier to make 9 Rand in South Africa than it is to make $1 overseas, because we know the market, we know the risks, we can execute. But saying all of that, to have all your eggs in one basket, it doesn't matter whether you're Warren Buffett or Robert Kiyosaki or any of the investment specialists, is not wise. It's not prudent. You know, to have all your money based in Rand, in property, in South Africa, is fairly risky. And it's not just a South African thing. If I'd invested all my money in American property in 2007, I'd be like a class clown right now. So that's really why we're talking. And you know, we've helped people invest in I personally have invested in London, Australia, South Africa. But last year I got extremely excited about America. Do you know anything about America?
Well, definitely. I mean, first world country. Property market's gone down with 40% at the moment, which there's great opportunities in that.
I mean, you've got to admit, any market where there's kind of, well, the market's lost 40%, there's a whole lot of bank repossessions.
Yeah.
You know, what's that saying? When there's blood on the streets, there's opportunity.
And they still offer 10% yields at the moment in America, you know, and for any savvy investor, you would know that 10% yield is very good at the moment, even anything above 9%.
And do you know, I'm not sure if you're aware of the Jacques, you can actually get financing in America fixed at 4.5% for 30 years.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing.
With yields of over 10%.
So I'm investing in America.
You know, the bottom line is you don't need to be a rocket scientist when you're looking at it. But it comes back to the fundamentals. You know, 80% of people that actually invest overseas lose money. And, you know, you've explained to me that the due diligence that you guys go in terms of doing the research. You know, why is it important to do the same due diligence, if not even 3 times more, when you're investing overseas?
Because most of our clients feel that we've had circumstances where they would like to invest close to where they're living at the moment. People are always scared in investing property like we have at Waterberg at the moment. It's quite far out. People are not quite sure. It's a 4-hour drive from where they live, and that's why if you do your research properly and you have a great management team behind everything, doing everything for you, you can feel safe and have a good night's sleep that everything's taken care of.
You know, you're spot on. I mean, I'm a Durban boy, so forgive me for my Afrikaans. But that saying, "Fair van jou goed na in jou skade," you know, it's a very South African thing. You know, we want to be able to touch our asset.
Yeah.
We want to be able to meet the person who's looking after our asset. But you know, as I said, the world's going global, and everything in life has a pro and a con. So yes, it's great to have all your assets in your back neighborhood. But if something goes wrong in your back neighborhood, you know, then you've got a big problem. Or equally so, maybe you could get better return on your capital overseas.
If you invest 5 kilometers from where you're living at the moment and you do not do your research or invest with the right developers or with the right companies and management teams, you're going to have a boo-boo as well, you know, so that's the most important. Overseas, definitely very popular, as long as all those things are in place.
Perfect. So I mean, look, the reason that I'm extremely excited about America at the moment, and as I said to you, I've invested in, I own property in London, Australia, and South Africa, but I've been investing heavily in America for the last about 10 months. Firstly, as you said, 40% property discount. You know, you're buying property at replacement value of 50%. So if it costs 100 Rand to buy a house, and I can buy it for 50. So sorry, 100 Rand to build a house, and I can buy it for 50. Would you agree that's good value?
Definitely.
You know, secondly is the concern of the income. You know, if I can get a 10% yield, but now we all know it can be a fictitious yield, like one on paper. The bottom line is you actually got to have the people on the ground to collect the rent. Well, we've got over 1,100 investors where the vacancy is less than 3 weeks. The net yield is over the last 6 years about 15%. So there's track record, there's consistency. The clients on the ground actually have the ability to execute on the opportunity. Because I'm sure it's the same with you.
Yeah.
It's all good and well to find a good opportunity, but you've got to have the management solution. You know, I always say to people, it's 20% about buying, 80% about managing. You know, and so it's about, and you know, when it's far away, people are even more anxious, you know, about doing that. You know?
Because what most people do is they sell a property and then they just walk away and they leave the client, because it's not them paying the bond repayments.
Yep.
You know, so that's why it's very important to stay on board, have a relationship with those clients, because they will invest with you in the future. And if you give them good yield on their properties now and you take hands with them, showing them their rental income monthly, and that you have a great management team behind that, managing all that for them, you know, the chances are good that you're going to do business in the future with them as well.
100%. So now, just from my perspective, there's something else that I'm not even sure you're aware of. Do you know that the Rand has lost more than 5% year on year against the US dollar for the last 20 years? So if you invested the exact same amount of money in South Africa and the exact same amount of money in America over the last 30 years, you would be about 3.5 times wealthier if you'd invested in America. So if you're taking a long-term projection, it's very, very important. And if you're interested, click on this link up here. We've actually just done a webinar on the Rand and what's happening with the Rand. And I mean, long-term, has the Rand devalued from your experience over the last 5 to 10 years?
Yes.
100%. So to give you some stark facts. I started investing in America last year in August. Do you know that today that exact same property is costing you 54% more money? Why? Because the property market has gone up and the Rand has devalued by 26% since August last year. I'm literally talking 6 months.
Yes.
Now, 3 months into the future, with the way things are going in terms of the costs, so the values are going up and the Rand is devaluing, do you know that we're going to be about 94% difference between August when I bought and March?
That's quite shocking.
It's unbelievable. And that is the pain of procrastination. And if you're interested, you know, click on the link and we'll take you to our procrastination model. But the bottom line is you need to have the right information. You don't want to go out, you've mentioned it, you've got to have the right partners. So we're not saying go out and make a mistake. But the question is, we South Africans love to meet people. We love to go along, shake their hand, look them in the eye, decide if we can trust them, decide if, you know, and that's very much what you guys do.
Yes.
With all your experience, you go out, you find the right partners and offer those clients. Well, in March, what are we doing?
We would like to bring them down and physically shake hands to see what we are busy with. And you know what, some people would say, yes, it is too good to be true, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
You know, and we supply all the information, and even previous investors all enjoying their property yield at the moment, which they can meet as well. So
I mean, it's exactly that. You know, you've got investors like yourself. You mentioned right up front, shit, America sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is you're successful. You're doing very well here in South Africa. You're making a lot of money. You don't have time to get on a plane to go over there and sort it out. So the benefit is we've invested over R1 million in bringing our partners to South Africa. Now, don't get me wrong. They have no need to come to South Africa. The market is booming in America. We are paying for them to come here. But we're doing it so that your clients and my clients have the ability to sit, learn the information on a one-to-one. They can have a meeting, they can look a guy in the eye, they can shake their hand. We've basically set up investment consultations, which are, you know, because every person's different. They want to, you know, their situation, what do they want to do? It's not a herding mentality, you know. So that's what we're doing. It's from the 9th to the 16th of March. We've got the first one on the 9th of March in Cape Town. Then on the 11th of March is in Port Elizabeth. The 13th of March is in Durban. The 15th of March is in Pretoria, and the 16th of March is in Johannesburg. So again, if you go over here to this side here, sign up, put your details in, and we will give you all the information. You can choose the venue you want, you can choose whether you want an investment consultation, and just for you guys to add real value to you, we want to help as many of your clients get the right information so they make the right decisions. And so we're actually going to offer them a 2-for-1 offer for just exclusively for Just Invest. So they'll need to use the Just Invest code, which we will supply them, so that they can log in on a 2-for-1, in terms of where it is. Now again, for us, this is not about quantity, it's about quality. At the end of the day, Just Invest help, and the Just Property Group, not only help people invest, but actually help them manage. But at the end of the day, you guys look after the best investors in the country. That's your intention. And by us collaborating together, now we can offer them the best solution in South Africa, and also the best solution globally.
Sign up. Do it now.
Perfect. Sign up over here. We look forward to seeing you there live. Cheers.